Can we start with the salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you're at workshop, I would say you haven't had any dinner or lunch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'm going to start off with what the aim is of this. Journaling the Quran literally means personalizing your Quran. It means looking at this Quran, and wherever you will turn your page, I'll show you mine in a minute, it will stand out. And if I were to ask you about any of the 114 surah, so if I were to say, what is the focus of surah number 50? It should come straight away. So the aim is to know the 114 surahs. If I say surahs, the plural is surah. One surah, so many surah. But because in our language, surah is a little bit difficult to digest, so I will say surahs, okay? So 114 surahs. And then to find the relevant ayat from each surah that you will highlight. Now, normally, instead of highlighters, I would ask you to use these little boxes of pencil colors. And you know, September comes and you go to school with your children to buy new stationery, right? So I'm going to get you new stationery. So you'll get one of these. Inshallah, you can come and pick it up over here. With you, you have a book like this. And hopefully, that book too will eventually look a little bit like mine, a little bit tatty. It's got some stickers on it as well, because my Quran has stickers as well. And we'll take it from there. Are you comfortable with that? Okay. So basically, it's a Quran you will have. You will look at it, and rather than the koja bare and bare and bare and bare, you will do a little bit more with it. So I'm going to start off with some very basics. I've got some numbers over here, okay? So altogether, there are 114 surah in the Quran. You know that, surahs in the Quran. 86 of them are Makki, and 28 are Madani. Now, look at the proportion here. The demarcation line between Makki and Madani is not the place. It's actually Hijrah. So, before Hijrah, you had Makki. After Hijrah, you have Madani. Makki, and if you'll see in every single Quran, in the beginning, it will say Makki or Madani. So there is something to it. Makki deals with the why of religion. So when you say usul, there are only 3 usuls, by the way. Tawheed, Nubuwa, and Qiyamah. Tawheed and Adala go together. Nubuwa and Imama go together. So you could say Tawheed, divine guidance, and accountability. So 86 surah of the Quran focus on those 3 usuls. And you find in Madaris, I'm talking about workshop as well, we focus more on the 28 than on the 86. And that is why it is very difficult to do the how when the why has not been addressed. If you see the 86 surah, the Prophet starts off very softly. We will get some bits that you will stick in your Qurans. But right now, understand that he started off with very kid gloves, explained to the Makkans very, very softly. And then when they didn't understand, it got a little bit harder. And then the end of the Makki surah are really harsh. But the harshness is only because it took a while to take them through there. Madani talk about the how of religion, the salah and the saum and the social justice. And I will give you pieces of paper that you can stick like I have stuck in here. And they focus basically on social responsibilities and law. But that's 28 of them, okay? We will look at a bit of Quran City in a minute. 6236, that's how many ayat in the Quran. It's not that difficult. Do you know how much we speak in a week? More than that. Okay? So if anybody says, I cannot memorize Quran, or I cannot understand Quran, it is not the shortcoming of the Quran. It is my shortcoming. Okay? 77,807 words. Okay? Doesn't matter. Now, the Quran was never divided into siparas or anything like that. We call it sipara, no? In Arabic, it is called juz or ajza, right? There's 30. Then there's manzil and manazil. In your Qurans, you will see this. There's 7, okay? Because people wanted to finish the completion of the recitation in a month, the ulama divided it into 30 equal parts. So that was, and we somehow have forgotten that. I'm talking about me. We've forgotten about this and we've just focused on this, right? At the bottom of your Quran, you will see manzil and manazil. People wanted to finish it in a week. Now this Quran was first published in Venice. If any of you get a chance, go to Venice. There is when I went there, I actually went to the place where this Quran was published. Anyway, what happened was the Quran was sent to Bukhara. Bukhara is in Russia. The name is Bukhara. Please write it down. Now, sorry, I can't read that one. So it was sent to Bukhara. And in Bukhara, the ulama, the scholars, tried to make sure that they could divide the Quran into sort of subject matters. So they divided it into rukus. Why is it called a ruku? We call it a makra, by the way. It's called a ruku. Why do we call it a ruku? Because in Taraweeh, they finish Taraweeh on the 27th of Ramadan. They recite 20 rakats every day in Ramadan. So by the 27th, they wanted to finish the whole Quran. So they divided it into 540 parts, which were known as ruku. The ruku is an ain. On top, the number tells you the number of the ruku in the surah. The bottom tells you the number of the ruku in the juz. And the middle tells you how many ayat in that ruku. It is not makra. It is because you finish that and you go into ruku. That's what they did in Taraweeh. Now the Indians didn't like the Russians. So the Indians decided to do their own work. And they divided it into 500, don't ask me why, 558 ruku'at. One ruku, so many ruku'at. Now the reason why I'm going over this boring stuff is that we need to know a little bit about this Quran. Are you with me? Okay, you're not with the village, good. All right, so now we've come to the basic general bits about the Quran. And what we're going to do, and like I said, the idea is to be able to work through it one surah at a time. And it may come out through your ears every Thursday because I keep on repeating, but that's how we plan to go forward. Right? When we first started journaling, we had a book like this. And with that book, what we did was we started off with looking at all the du'as in the Quran. You can still do that. We went through all the ayat that said, Ya ayyuhal ladina aman, or Ya ayyuhan nas. And then we went, you can download this from the website or you can get it or whatever you want. But it works. It helps. I would also suggest that before every surah, you'd stick in the buildings. I'm going to put this back on here so you can see what I'm trying to say. So if you look at my Quran, you will see that every surah has the building stuck on it. Right? Which tells you the focus of the building and the different sections of that building. But we'll go through it as you go along. You can either download them or you can let Fatim know if you want a set of these, and we'll have them printed out and then you can cut them out and stick them. It's good practice. Okay? Are you good with that? All right. So we're going to start with Surah Al-Fatiha. That, by the way, is Quran City, and I'll talk about it later on another time, because I don't want to confuse you too much. All I want you to do, like Quran City, is look at the top one. Can you see the top one? Surah Al-Qamar. Can you see Surah number 54? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps? Yes. So turn to 54 in your Qurans. Just turn to it. Just turn to Surah number 54. And you will find 4 ayat here, 17, 22, 32, and 40. Exactly the same thing. You see that? So in your Qurans, if you've got a Quran with you, and I don't know which Qurans you have. If you don't have a Quran, let us know and we'll try and sort something out for you. So let's look at what it says. It says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Now, I'd like to explain that a little bit to you. Again, one of the tools that you require is Post-it notes. So you can stick Post-it notes everywhere, right? So in this Post-it note, I've put dhikr is remembrance. You know that? Dhikr is remembrance. Zakir is one who reminds. That's why you call somebody a Zakir or a Zakira. Mudhakir is somebody who puts in a little bit of effort in remembering. And then it goes to Mutadhakkir, which is a little bit less effort. And then it's Muddakir. It goes down in steps. I'll send this to you, by the way. We can probably start a WhatsApp group and I'll send it down to you. And it literally means that we have made the Quran extremely easy for anyone who is willing to put even a tiny bit of effort into it. Tiny bit. Where we stopped as a community, and this is my perception, I may be totally wrong, is that we got to the point of recitation and we became really good reciters, mashallah, good community. And then we decided to go into memorization, and there's nothing wrong in it. And we became memorizers, but we stopped there. We didn't go any further. While this tells me that the Quran started out to be something that is a guidance for me. You good? Okay. Now we're going to go to Surah Al-Fatiha. Fatim, can we move ahead? Okay, there we go. So if you turn to Surah Al-Fatiha, I'd like you to listen to me a little bit carefully so we understand. Because you recite it every day, it's quite easy to handle this, okay? So Surah Al-Fatiha is, in essence, in a nutshell, it is, if I can say, the whole concept of the Quran. So basically what it is doing is a summary of the whole Quran. That's what Surah Al-Fatiha is. That is why you and I recite it every day, 10 times a day. We will recite it, right? So the first thing I'd want to come out of your, when I say coming out of your ears, I want you to repeat to yourself again and again and again. Is anybody said Fatiha, you know it's number one. You also know that it's the opening, so it opens you up to the Quran. You also know that it's a summary of the Quran. Are you good with that? And inshallah, if they let me, I got Yasmin sitting there, we will finish 114. Okay, so you will know the concept of each one. So right now, what was I say? Number one. What was it? Fatiha. What was this key concept of this, or if I can say the short focus, the summary of the Quran. Divide it into 3 sections in your head. Divide it into 3 sections. Imagine you never had a God. Imagine you never believed. I'll tell you how to do that. Suspend your beliefs. You know, when my daughter was very young, the little one, they had a movie that came out which was called, what is that fish movie called? Nemo, Finding Nemo. Yeah? Now, if while she was watching Finding Nemo, you gave her fish and chips, she would say, no, Mama, you can't eat fish and chips because a barracuda attack killed Nemo's parents. However, as soon as Finding Nemo finished, oh, she loved fish and chips. So for that period of time, there was a suspension of belief. So try to suspend your belief. Now imagine you went shopping for a God. You went shopping. You're looking for a God. You went through the Vedas, you went through the Bible, you went to the Torah, you went to every single book. And you came across this book, and it told you that this God was Rabb. Rabb means someone who takes you step by step to your full potential, provided you let him. I could tell you a story again. I don't know what the time is, but you know what? If I stop, I stop. So there was a mama, and her daughter said that my doll is broken. So mama said, take the doll to the doll hospital. So the child takes the doll to the doll hospital. Comes back with a broken doll. Mama runs to the hospital and says, how dare you not fix my child's doll? And the doctor said, we can't do anything. She won't let go. Okay, so Rabb is someone, you let go of everything and you let him take you to your full potential step by step. Then he is Rahman. That means he's immediately merciful. Rahman means immediate, now. Dentist. When your teeth are hurting, you don't care if they take them out or what they do. Just take this pain away. So Rahman is immediate. Sorry, there's a dentist here. Okay, but that's what you do. Rahim is different. Rahim is constant. It's permanent. Rahim is something you subscribe to, like a dental hygienist. You don't want to go to them, but you subscribe to them because they keep your teeth healthy. So Rahman was a dentist, permanent. When I say permanent, immediate, not permanent, immediate, temporary. And Rahim was constant and permanent. And then you have Malik or Malik. You can say Maliki Yawmiddin, or you can say Maliki Yawmiddin. Malik is one who not only owns, but also controls. I own my head, I think. But if my head hurts and I tell my head to get better, it's not going to get better. So if somebody told you, the first section, who is this God that you believe in? Rabb, Rahman, Rahim, and Malik. These are 4 really important concepts. If you forget everything else, Ya Rabb, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Malik. Forget everything else. At least you know that is your Rabb. Now, once you know this is the Rabb that you want to connect to Him. You really do. So you say, Iyake na'budu wa iyake nasta'in. Because you don't only want to become His abd or His slave or connect to Him on your own. Jannah, can you just imagine Jannah? You were told, Qila dkhulil Jannah. All of us. So one of us alone was told, Qila dkhulil Jannah. What are we going to say? Yay, I made it. And then, no phone, no connections, just all these massive mansions, and you and you and you. You're going to say, I don't want this. I don't care what Stanmore is like. I want all of them there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's why you say, Iyake na'budu. What did Habib Najjar say? Qila dkhulil Jannah. Qala, ya layta qawmi ya'lamuna bima ghafara li rabbi wa ja'alani minal mukramin. I wish my people knew how I was forgiven. He didn't say, yeah, I got to Jannah. So, Iyake na'budu. The moment you say na'budu means I want everybody together. Wa iyake nasta'in. And you alone do we ask for help. Isti'ana is different from nasr. Isti'ana means asking for help for something I'm already doing. I can't say, help me do something that I'm not doing at all. But isti'an is something I'm striving towards. And each one of us is striving to reach our full potential. So that when the angel of death comes, I can say, thank you for life, I did my best. That is why in salah, forget all the mustahabat. And I'm saying this quite clearly. Start with the wajibat first. Not, it doesn't work. Iyake na'budu wa iyake nasta'in. The moment you say na, imagine everybody together. And then is the ayah that you need to highlight. Okay, it's up to you. I highlight them in green. You can highlight them in whatever color you like. Or sometimes in other Qurans I highlight them in yellow. But it's ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Because I said, we want to ask you for help. So the angels are all sitting around me and say, but what help do you need? What do you want? What do you want everybody to go towards? And you're saying, guide us to our full potential. It is the straight path means your full potential. Now, Surah Al-An'am, and we'll go maybe next week, I don't know. In Surah Al-An'am, you will find a lot of references to Sirat al-Mustaqim. You can look them up and you can highlight them. Wherever you see Sirat al-Mustaqim in Surah Al-An'am, highlight it. And then maybe we can talk about it if we've got time. So the ayah I'd like you to highlight in Surah Al-Fatiha is Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. That is the dua. You actually raise your hands and you say, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Forget everything you've known to. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Guide us to our full potential. Not guide me, guide us. Sirat. Now he says, so you asked him for that, right? Oh, wait, okay. So you asked him for that, so he gave you an answer. Because Allah always answers. You know when you see the 2 blue ticks and people don't answer? It's so frustrating. It really is. Because you think, oh, they've seen it. And I just don't have time to answer me. Oh, you don't think that? I do. Okay, I'm old-fashioned. I prefer somebody to write back. So when you see those 2 blue ticks and you think they've seen it but they're not answering, you give them 70 excuses, but Allah doesn't need that. Immediately He says, Sirat, you want to follow? You want to get to your full potential? He says, Sirat al-ladina an'amta alayhim. Follow the path of those whom I have blessed. Past tense. And then he says, he doesn't say غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ. He doesn't say those whom I am angry on. He said, not on those whom there is anger, neither those who are lost. He doesn't mention himself in there. So it could be general anger, it could be general being lost. Okay. So we'll start off with My first question to him would be, if it's Sirat al-Ladina an'amta alayhim, if it's guide us or follow those whom I have blessed, my question would be, who have you blessed? I mean, it's just common sense. If somebody asked me, somebody today texted me and said, where is the class, for example, okay? Now, I could have, if I didn't know, I would have said, call Yasmin, and she'll know where it is. And they'll say, who is Yasmin? And like the children at workshop say, the lady who wore a scarf, okay? So you have to direct somebody. So my first question is, Ya Allah, who have you blessed? And his answer is, read the rest of my book and you'll find out. You can't stop at Surah Al-Fatiha. Are you good? Okay. So I have, still got some time so we can carry on a little bit. So I go through some things about Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah number 15, ayah 87. It says, it calls this surah Sab'a Mathani. These were 7 ayat that were repeated twice. It is known as Surah Al-Hamd, Kitab, Sab'a Mathani, Wafia, Safiya, Asa, Shifa, and Salah. Somebody is ill, write it on a clay plate, wash it with water and give them the water, or sprinkle the water on them. It has amazing sources of shifa. The Prophet says, Jabir, shall I teach you the best and most excellent surah? And he says, Bala. And the Prophet said, Surah Al-Fatiha. And he just looked at the Prophet. And the Prophet said, you do not know the magnitude of this surah. Okay. So Surah Al-Fatiha, amazing surah for absolutely anything. Are you good? Now we're going to go, just start you off for next week on Surah Al-Baqarah. That. Okay? Now Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest surah of the Quran. And you're looking at Baqarah and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what the heaven is she going to do? We're going to make it easy, okay? So Surah Al-Baqarah, surah number 2, yes? Baqarah means come. You all know that. You're good with that. The focus of that surah, the short focus is basically, and you've got it in your books, it's basically faith through history. Iman through history. And it tells you practical laws. So there are 9 sections. I promise you, and this is not just a funky promise, it's a really good promise. I promise you, you will know this. You will know the 9 sections. Okay? So the first section of Surah Al-Baqarah is, put yourself in a class. Either you believe, it doesn't say put anybody else, huh? Put me. Nobody else. Put yourself in a class. Either you believe, or you don't believe, or you're on the shelf, on the fence. You say you believe, but you don't. Good? You put yourself in that class. Fine. So there are only 3 classes in this university. Believe, don't believe, or on the fence. You don't have to tell anybody. Nobody's watching, just you. You either believe or you don't believe, or you're on the fence. Now he says in the second section, he introduces you himself. He says, me, I'm Allah. Good? Okay. Third section. Third section, he said, you know what? The first person I created was Adam. I will talk about him when he comes. So he says, that's the first person I created. Then he says, I've got to tell you about the naughty students. A large chunk of Surah Al-Baqarah is about the naughty students. They asked why all the time. Kila Baqarah. Which one? Was it yellow? Was it green? Big? Small? Working? Not small? I mean, can you imagine Musa going up and down, up and down? Why? What's wrong with you? So these were the naughty students. The ones who just didn't basically believe until they saw proof. Right? Until they saw it literally. Then he talks about the best student, the star student, which is Prophet Ibrahim. Are you good? Let's go over those 5 sections. 1, you put yourself in a class. 2, Allah. 3, Adam. 4, naughty students. 5, Ibrahim. Are you good? Okay. Now the 6th section. He says, okay, now you know about my university. We're going to have a change of Qibla. We're going to inaugurate you into a new class. From Jerusalem to, come on, to Makkah. 180 degrees. So I'm going to tell you to come out of this history class and we're going to go into a practical class. Because you know about history now. You good? Right. Section 7, my goodness. Everything. Talk about anything. Fasting, food, charity, self-defense, periods, orphans, drinking, gambling, oaths, everything. So in that class, you learned history in one class, you did 180 degrees, and in class number 7 or section number 7, you learned all about all these things. Good? Okay. Section 8, he said, now, because you've learned so well, I will teach you Sayyidul Ayat, the best ayat in the Quran, which is Ayatul Kursi. I will go into it next week, inshallah, and you'll know it well. But he said, that is known as Sayyidul Ayat. You know what? Ayatul Kursi anywhere. Just keep at it. I call it AK. I call Joshan Kabir JK. I call Ayatul Kursi AK. And do you know what MK is? Mari Kuti ne Musalman banao. Okay. So AK, JK, and MK. Are you good? Right. So we Mari Kuti ne Abra Quran 6. Okay. Anyway. So section number 7 was what? Learning about all the practical laws. Section number 8 was learning the best ayah of the Quran. He tells you, this is me. I am with you wherever you want. Whatever you do, I'm here. And then the final section, in every single profession that you do, you have a CPD, don't you? You have this thing which keeps you up with the times. Well, the last section is actually your core beliefs and how to maintain them. It's actually a CPD, which is Amanar Rasul. Are you good? All right, now close your eyes, please. And we're going to go through the 9 sections. So you know Surah Al-Baqarah, can you imagine? Baqarah number 2, you know it's a cow. You good with that? You know that it is about history of belief, basically how we got here, and practical laws. You good? 9 sections. 1, put yourself in a class. You believe, you don't believe, or you're sitting on the fence. Number 2, Allah. Number 3, Adam. Number 4, naughty students. Number 5, best student. Are you good with that? Yeah? Number 6 now, you go from history class to practical class. Change of Qibla, 180 degrees. From history you go to now. That means from past you go to present. Done that? Okay. Then number 8, best of ayat. Because he says, you've done really well. I'm going to get a certificate now. And this is me. I'm going to be with you wherever you are. You good? And number 9, finally, CPD. Are you good? So if I asked you about Baqarah next week, they told me they wanted to do this downstairs. I need to be to class. I need you to know. I need you to do your homework. I need you to write things down. If I ask you, and I'll give you an open book test, which means you can refer to your books, I would like you to know. Okay, I teach children. I only know how to talk to children. But it works that way. Are you good with that? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps? Okay, cool. Right, so as far as I know, you know Surah Al-Fatiha. You know the ayah we're going to underline in it, which is Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. We know a basic bit about Surah Al-Baqarah, the 9 sections. I need you to go over it in your head again and again and again. If you need the surahs, ask Fatima, she will write your names down, she'll sort them out for you. We also have books called Quran City, there's a journey through it, which gives you all the surahs, everything I've talked to you about on there. And inshallah, we will go through that next week. Are you comfortable with that? Next week, we'll go through the ayat that you will highlight there. I'm hoping you will take these or you will buy them. I'm hoping you will bring a Quran. I use the one by Shakir. You're very welcome to have a look at mine. I use the one by Shakir. They're not available at the moment. So what we did for workshop is we actually printed them out. But each one cost £22. I've written to the publishers to ask if there's anything I need to give them as a token. Nobody has written back to me, but at the moment we're not selling them as such. We're actually giving them to the students, okay? Have a look. If you can't get Shakir, let me know. If you'd like to use another one, it's entirely up to you. I would use that as your note-taking bit. I would come back next week with some stickers. They do them in any of the online shops do them, wherever you want to get them. Are you comfortable? Any questions? It's up to you. Many people don't like to use a Quran. I have one at home which I use, which I don't have a translation on. But you've got to be really familiar with the Quran to be able to use one without a translation, right? You may be able to stick post-it notes in it. I mean, this is entirely your own thing. Journaling is a very personal thing. The way I work at it later after I finish them is whenever I come to a majlis, when the Zakir starts or the Zakira starts with an ayah of Quran, I will highlight it in my Quran and I will take notes of her or his majlis and I will write them down because everybody has a different aspect or a different view of looking at it. Are you good? Any other questions? My goodness, you're good. Yes. Sorry? So if you look at it, we've done all the yellow surahs in the Makkan. This green, so you know it's Madani. Okay? And you can see the practical laws in there, which is Madani. Right? Are you good? Yes. Which 3 columns? These ones? Yeah, all of them. They're not mine alone. All I did was scan through the scholars' books, make it simple, and put it up there. I don't know anything. I learn from what I read and what I hear. Okay? You can't interpret the Quran on your own. Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody else? It's the best class I have. Yes. Everything will be in that book. You can download it. I think this talk will be uploaded, so you can listen to it again and again and again. And maybe I went too fast. I will try and slow down for next time. Sorry? Yes, Quran City. This is actually a journey through Quran City. Yeah, it's on qfatima.com. You can download it, or you can get a copy. Fatima will sort you out. Okay. By the way, for journaling the Quran, you need a Fatima. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay. Anybody else? Are you good? Okay, so let's end with the Surah Al-Fatiha first, okay, and then I'll take you through some basics. I was told I was supposed to finish at 9:05. That's what you told me, so I timed myself. All right. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العظيم. So you will hopefully have a Quran that at some stage you will look a bit like this, or even better. I mean, this is a bit funky, but literally, so that when you open it anywhere, it brings back a memory of what you've written, of what's gone through your mind, and you'll try and understand it. Remember, the first ayah of Baqarah says, Alif Lam Mim. Then, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This book, no doubt in it, is a guidance for those who are God conscious. It cannot be a guidance if we don't understand it. If it's not what I run to when I'm stuck, if it's not when I run to, what ayah do I read? I mean, which is ayah 33. I'm going to go through a test now. 33. Yeah. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. 2662. 2222. I tell children to write this when they're having a shower. How well done. Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawwabin wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin. I tell them, if you don't know the ayah, Allah knows it. Just write 2 dots, 222. Can't be that difficult, can it? 6611. 2201. Oh, my favorite one. 0833. My passcodes are like that. Oh, sorry, I'll change it. 0833. Anybody? Look it up. Come on. Surah number 8, ayah 33. He says, let's go over it. Come on, we've got some time. Will you tell me when I finish? I'm just buying time. Okay. I had planned for 9:05, way past my bedtime. Okay. You see what it says? It's one of the most beautiful ayah of the Quran. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيَضْرِبَهُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ فِيهِمْ. I will never punish you because the Prophet is with you. With us, we have the last Muhammad, don't we? But look at the last bit. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. I will never punish you if you do istighfar. Never. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? All you have to do is astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. And when you and I go down there and they bring anything near punishment, we'll say, have you not read 0833? Can you not say that? That's all you need to know. Istighfar, all the when Ayatollah Bahjat was asked, give us the best dua for hajat, for difficult. He said istighfar. Imam Ali was asked, what do you do? Istighfar. So I mean, you can't forget 0833, can you? Oh, thank God for that. Okay. So I will in between give you little bits and pieces that you'll underline. And if you don't know the ayah, at least you know Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Or what about 2187? Oh, come on. Ayatul Karima. La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. Okay, I'm just going to do bits and pieces. What about 4044? You're looking it up. You can turn it. I mean, let's go to it. I think you're allowed to go downstairs now. Is it 4044? Don't know. Which one is it? وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. You read it in your morning salah, right? Now, it's important, hopefully, if you're here for the next few weeks or whenever, however long this takes, that whenever an ayat is given, you know it. And it makes you feel good because it is his words. It's not my word, it's not your word. It's the Creator's words. Are you good? You feel good about 33, right? Okay, last one, 6611. It's a house. You put a house near there. Rabbi ibni li indaka baytan fil jannah. These are du'as that you do. You good? 6611. Yeah. Asya. Yeah. All right. You comfortable? Fine. So if you need to get anything, look at the Quran, you need to talk to Fatim, all yours. I will end now with the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraja.